all sorts of new things to do now. But I suppose first of all, the heels of Helios. Come on. Why isn't it selecting it? Well, okay, we can't go directly to the map from the scroll screen. I see. Well, Hills of Helios. Wow, this is drier than I expected. Tourists are often surprised to see cactuses growing on the Isle of the Sun, but they are indigenous. You ever touched a cactus? I remember one morning before school, I fell and grabbed a cactus, and then it hurt, and I can remember picking sliding the big needles out of my fingers before I went to class. This tree has stood here for more than 2,000 years. It's older than many legends that you would consider ancient. There aren't some trees like that. I mean, there are trees older than written history that exist. These flowers share a complex root system and a simple description. I see. Never trust these trees. Thanks for the warning. Keep that in mind, blue mushroom friend. Niam's camp! But where is Niam? Moab is my wash pot to wash harder. And what's this one? Magical Well, anyway, this is great. Int poo is great for making fires with. A tripody stool. Tripody is a word now. In what way is it tripody? It's a tripod, full stop. The remnants of a meal involving corned beef. A zinc lantern. Toilet paper. The astute camper's most important resource. Terrible things have happened to reckless fools who did not take enough with them. This box contains soil, water. So she was conducting some sort of, scientific survey here? There's nothing except a sleeping bag in here. Come on, where's Niam? Niam! We found you! And she does indeed appear to be unharmed. Niam! I've been looking for you for so long. And now I see why they had the book about octopuses, tentacles, that was for sex. Because her hair is tentacles. That's kind of gross, but I mean, guess that's just her biology. The smell of these flowers is said to make goats sneeze, but only on Sundays. This flower had an affair with a botanist once. It ended with some kind of pun. Like what? The only thing that comes to mind is the word deflower, which means to take virginity. But if they were having an affair, that would have already happened, right? At the beginning of it. Hi. Niam! You have no idea how long we've been looking for you. How you doing? I'm okay. There's nothing to worry about, though. It's very sweet of Tha to send you. But he has enough on his mind. He doesn't need to worry about me. I'll be home soon. Has Tha told you the story of his name? No? I should have known. He doesn't want anyone's pity. Worries about being seen as one of those people who use their personal tragedies as rhetorical tools. But it's worth knowing. I'll tell you on the way to Underhome. Oh. So, what are you doing in this place? A beautiful area, isn't it? We came here with Tha a few years ago, spent some weeks camping under a tree and cataloging the wildlife. That was one of the most romantic times of my life, I think. Love, science, and sunshine. What else do you need? Good point, honestly. I'll have to analyze the data further before I can be certain, but it looks like Lord Urizen's ship is leaving quite the trail of pollutants, both magical and otherwise. If just one ship can do so much damage, I shudder to think what will happen if his proposals about new factories and mines and shipping lanes are implemented. The technologies he is using may be profitable, but they are ridiculously primitive and destructive. Yeah, but they're cheaper, you know? My grandfather? I don't know how to help him. I try to talk to him, but his despair runs so deep. I don't know if there's anything anyone can do until the world changes. Well, I'm sorry about that, Niam, I really am. And I'm glad you're safe. I'm not so glad about what you've learned. It's what I expected, but... So, about the translator that I hear you have. The translator? I'm sorry, it's broken. Of course it is. I tried talking to a polyphonic scaryfish, and it just couldn't handle the input. I'll repair it as soon as I'm back in Underhome. I could certainly use your help. The pollution and magical disturbances I came to measure are far more widespread than I thought they would be, which is why I've taken so long. If you could nip over to a couple of places and take readings for me, I'd be very grateful. Here, I've set up the quadricorder, so all you need to do is press a button. I need readings from Thera Beach and Mataki Beach. They're on opposite sides of the aisle. Yeah. Everywhere I go, it's just more chores. Well, at least this is for a good cause. I mean, this has all been for a good cause. It's just we haven't always... Sometimes it can get kind of slow. Carrot, compass, feta, gloves, peppers. The quadricorder. Very complicated device. It smells of technobabble. Well, that's good. It's what I would hope for around here. But let's take that out again and eat it. The ionic particle matrix shield prevents you from eating the quadricorder. Of course it does. The quadricorder detects the mouse's life signs. So, sure, works for me. Well, first to the... Why is this on the map? Why is this... Well, I guess might as well look at this. Nolus seems to be fine, they said. Orthos once peed here. Orthos. Can't think of who that is. Did, like, that tortoise in town tell us to talk to his brother and I forgot? Could be. Ah! Oh, sorry, you startled me. It's not safe in Aftonia anymore. Mayor Cranion said we're in danger of anarchy. I'm scared. Athanasia is crazy. Her head's full of radical ideas. She doesn't understand how quickly civilization can fall apart. Soon we'll be at each other's throats, the streets burning, children being sacrificed to dark anarchist gods. Well, if you say so. So, to Mataki Beach. This plant originally grew further down, but after the last storm it decided to move to a safer spot. This appears to be a relative of the bodkin bush. Getting at the berries probably requires a very special kind of shtick. Is bodkin like a comedian? I mean, that's a joke, it's a good one. There's a cave in the cliffs. Okay, well, let's get out that thing she gave us, the quadricorder. Elevated levels of ionic radiation, and that's no good. But what's in the cave? Do we really want to go in here? These plants are debating whether yellow or red is the more natural color. A calliope shell. There's a poet crab inside it working on his new epic about Bob the Spider. Well, Bob builds galleons, you know. He taught God and killed Satan, or at least fought with him. So all I can say is that he darn well, he is already an epic hero. He's a living epic hero. That plant is. Yeah, those are some resilient plants. And a mushroom! Whoa. Hold on, Polyphemus. This mushroom is a part-time shepherd. This bat strongly opposes vigilantism, believing that only through the organized mass action of the proletariat can genuine change ever occur. Clearly a specimen of the oceanic red bat. It's the common disembodied eyeball, or one of its local subspecies. You are being watched from the darkness. Well, that's pretty normal, to be honest. There's always something lurking in the darkness. watching, waiting. Mostly cats. God, Bob is a god. Okay, so hey, Polyphemus. These mushrooms are distantly related to the Persian longhair. There's an enormous one-eyed man in this cave. Why are you examining the mushrooms? A pitcher and a glass. Not for drinking, but for eye drops. Bread and cheese for when there aren't any sailors to eat. Yeah, it is true that in the Odyssey, Polyphemus has cheese and, meat before he eats the sailors. Wait. So they eat candles? The water in this watering can contains extra nitrogen, which helps the plant grow. Platonic plates. The eyeball is eyeballing its one-eyed friend. The Odyssey, Facts and Fiction by Odysseus. I hope it's fiction, the part where he brutally slaughters a few hundred people because he's a monster. When I read the Odyssey, I thought the scariest part would be Scylla and Charybdis. And as horrifying as they were, the scariest monster of all was Odysseus.
Good day, little one.
Tell us about yourself, Vasilis.
I'm Vasilis the Cyclops. I live in this cave. I lead a simple life, with only my pet eyeball George and a few books for company. I don't understand you little ones. You're always fighting each other. Relax. Live a little.
Do you need help with anything, or can you help me?
No, I don't need any help, thank you. I just live here.
Have you heard of the Timber Tyrant?
Did you know that Timber Tyrant was only a nickname that his enemies came up with? It was just a bad pun, nothing else. But now no one remembers his real name. Ironic, isn't it? So much bloodshed, and all that anyone remembers is a silly joke.
Well, see you around, Vasilis. You're a pretty peaceful guy compared to your barbarous ancestors. Kind of like the Greeks themselves. I don't think too many Greek people go on raids into their neighboring communities anymore. This is a gateway stone. Better leave it alone or you might end up getting into boulders, monoliths, or even hard rock. It combines rock puns, rock and roll, and, anti-drug PSAs. The description for this flower seems more textual than usual. Strange, isn't it? It seems as textual as ever, in my opinion. These two smell intensely of magic. I bet magic smells something like doenjang. Sandberries are prized by children and creative adults as sandcastle decorations. Ah, I see. Thus the name Sandberries. Well, let's take the readings. Yeah, things aren't good here either. And that poor Cyclops Vasilis, just because he lives there, he's gonna get really sick because of all the pollutants in the air. And that really sucks. Well, Niam? Let me tell you about my readings. Odd there are two of them, I assume it's for both beaches. Excellent, thank you very much. Let me know when you're ready to go. Let's go. Let's go! I like the Isle of the Sun, but I've got work to do. And I've missed my boyfriend. Speaking of which, I should tell you the story of how he came by his name. I think it sorta matters. The was born to Moira and Robert Mysterious Druid. Moira lived in Underhome and Rupert was a traveling healer. They met in Port Derrig, which was a very small village then. They fell in love and were married the following year. Robert taking her name. Another year later, the was born. It is the custom of the people of the Isle of the Moon to hold a naming ceremony for each child, and until the ceremony is held, the child has no true name. It was at this ceremony that disaster struck. The master of ceremonies, who was Moira's grandfather, Rupert, had just begun writing the name the parents had whispered to him. It began with the letters T-H-E. Perhaps it was Theodore, or Theodosius, or Theophilus. But suddenly a terrible sound was heard. It was the Isle of Calliste, which is now little more than a skeleton. But then there were many towns and villages, and all were lost when the volcano erupted. No one had known what terrible forces lay inside that beautiful island. Moira and Robert knew that a grave danger now threatened the Isle of the Moon. They returned the child to Underhome and made haste for Port Derrig to warn the townspeople of what was coming. They were right. The waters rose and nearly destroyed Port Derrig. Many lives were lost, but many more would have been lost without Moira and Robert. It is said that they raised a barrier of magic to protect the village and beat back the waves. Together, they stood in the harbor, holding each other's hands, and it seemed to those who saw them that nothing could defeat their love. But the sea is ancient and powerful, and we are nothing to it but grains of sand, and so the sea claimed Moira and Robert, as they say it will claim everything in the end. No one ever learned what the name of the child was to have been, except the 3 letters that had been written down. Moira's father, too, was lost, though some say he threw himself into the waves when he heard of his daughter's fate. And so, the child was raised by Underhome and its creatures, who know little of the ways of humans, and simply called him the. Later it became a point of pride and amusement to him, though also a reminder of his loss. That's the story. What matters most to me, of course, is that he became a good man. He became the man that I love. Huh. I never even occurred to me that his situation could have been so serious. Well, let's go see the. We've got some bad news for you, the. And there's some good news this time. We found Niamh and she's safe.
Hello there.
So about Niamh.
She's home and I feel a lot better now. Ah, there you go, understatement of the week.
So I spoke to Sophia.
I was afraid this would be the answer. It's been coming for a long time, but I was hoping I wouldn't have to get involved. I was hoping I could mind my own business, take care of Underhome, figure out the many things about it that I still don't understand. But it was foolish to think that if I ignored the world would ignore me. The sea connects everything, as a poet once said. If we wish to save Underhome, we must save the Isles. I'll have to think. Meanwhile, my friend, do what you can for the people of this unfortunate realm.
You've been to Aftonia?
Did you enjoy Aftonia? I always find it incredibly relaxing. Something about the sea and sun in just the right amounts. I once actually fell asleep in the harbor after a hearty meal in old Antigone's tavern. A seagull stole one of my potions and grew an extra pair of wings. That probably horribly crippled it for life.
Still, actually, hold on. Does this screen work now? No. The and Niamh, I guess, just don't wanna use it. So let's see. Where was her room again? On this story, yeah. So this is Niamh's workroom, huh? A grumpy but kind-hearted old mushroom. The middle-aged mushroom. So now we finally see inside Underhome, huh? The whole thing. But no, what does this do? Yeah, okay. Nothing in here. Well, clearly there's actually a lot of stuff. But, a box containing the famous retro-styled 8th season of Star Trek The Next Generation, which was only shown in the Lands of Dream. Niamh got it from Jean-Luc Picard, to whom she is distantly related. Okay, so in this timeline, so we're on Earth way in the future from our timeline. Or at least on this timeline, Star Trek happened a lot sooner. But also on this timeline, Jean-Luc Picard was a real person, and the voyages of the Enterprise were just sort of, the show Star Trek was based on them. This changes my whole view of life. These gears are part of a vertex dispenser that Neum is planning to build. A box of nails with rhyming descriptions. Well, what else would you expect? They're nails. An oil can. It is very capable. Liquid objectivism, poisonous to humans, but sometimes necessary for getting rid of really bad stains. These buckets can contain chocolate. It is solidified into very peculiar shapes. Or they do contain chocolate, not a can. Well, I guess they've been used to dip chocolate into the chocolate buckets. A bucket of blue paint. An extra long plant fiber cable. This drawer contains a bunch of grocers who were transformed into screws. It's a long story. Bob the Spider is building his new submarine in this drawer. After building a TARDIS, that seems pretty tame. There's something in this drawer, but you don't know what it is. It tastes of lemon. We really do have a habit of just randomly putting things into our mouths. We're like a baby. This drawer is full of gas. You quickly close it. A tank of gas naturally produced by... well, let's not go there. Ew. I don't even want to think about how they harvest that. There's something terribly wrong with the spatial physics of this room. What? If you say so. This drawer contains a variety of subatomic particles. This drawer is full of electromagnetic radiation. There's an unused tachyon in this drawer. This drawer contains a box of science. This drawer contains power cells with vibrating nuclei. Whatever, however it's said. Neum's collection of high-quality mithril tools. So, does that mean it might be on the same timeline as one of the Final Fantasy games? I'm gonna guess 4. Neum's toolbox. Neum's quadricorder. A biogenic coil. Growing these can be quite the hassle. The basic tools every practically minded scientist needs. Well, let's talk. Hello again. It's good to be home. There's a lot to worry about, but it feels good to be home again. Thanks for your help. I missed him. He's very stressed right now, obviously, but we're always better together than apart. Machines? Machines are awesome. I love designing them, building them, even repairing them. But the thing about machines is, you have to understand how they work, you have to plan how you're going to use them, and Lord Urizen, for all his talk of reason and the great machine that will transform the world, is actually kind of bad at using machines. Sure, some of his machinery is powerful, but it's just so crude. I wonder if somewhere along the line he just lost his enthusiasm, his vision. Eddie? Eddie's a good friend. He may not be solid physically, but few beings are as solid mentally. You can always count on Eddie, plus he's got an excellent sense of style. Foreclosure? Let me tell you something. If I had been there when those goons came, they wouldn't have left this place in one piece. The is too kind to that sort of person, always hoping there's a way he can solve the problem without using force. And sometimes he's right, but not this time. Anyway, so about the translation machine. Here you go. Good luck. Don't try it on anything that speaks in more than 5 voices or it'll break. Also, avoid using it with Dadaists. Yeah, Dadaists will screw you right the heck up. Well, see ya, Neum. So after all this time, we finally found her. It feels like we really accomplished something meaningful. How you doing there, Waikato? I found out about this soup. The soup of recovery? That sounds perfect. Phidias is a renowned healer. I'm sure his recipe will work. I just hope finding the ingredients isn't going to be too tricky. And Neum's back. I'm glad that Niam's back, but those readings worry me. Pollution is a serious problem. Have you heard of Lagonia, the city of rabbits? It's been dead and abandoned for a while, but before the end they were pretty much drowning in poo. And it's not like poo recycling technology doesn't exist. Underhome can recycle poo just fine, for example. All they needed was some good druids and some decent biotech, but the government was full of poo denialists who claimed that poo didn't exist, or didn't smell, or in any case wasn't something to worry about. Of course, their belief couldn't stop the Great Lagonian Poo Avalanche. Using poop is a metaphor for climate change denialists. Very unusual. So anyway, now that we have this translator, well, first of all, let's take a look at it. Translator machine, where are ya? I mean, it's a sextant. You sextantify. It smells of intimate messages of social insects. That would be kind of difficult. Well, no, you just cut it up into small pieces. The mouse calculates something, then giggles. The joke is that it has the word sex in it. So here's the translator, huh? A device for talking to creatures whose speech cannot be translated by your window. Just use the normal dialogue window and the translator will do its job automatically. It smells of lavender, much like the and Niam themselves. This will not teach you how to speak new languages. The mouse says something that cannot be translated. It's probably an idiomatic expression. Hello, unsquirrely stranger, you great poof. The translator seems to be having some difficulties, but there's not much that can be done. These creatures simply speak too alien a tongue. So, about your tree, what do you think of it? The tree has beautiful thighs. Squeevabuiki. We dream in its infinite pastures beyond sight like panties. We make bouncy bouncy. Squee. Very sexual description. Man, this day just got better because they use the word panties. I love the word panties. You would like to have a subnana? A subnana you can have. I will not eat this subnana. It is scratched. Oiki oiki. Man, you're pretty nice. Thanks, man. I've been really needing this, so maybe you could explain where you creatures come from for science. We live in tree. Mikey oiki squeaky. Do you like Niam? Niam, squeaky Jew. We like Niam. Her hovercraft is full of eels. She gives us Diki Bakuju for breakfast. Okay, well, that wasn't the best, God, nipples exploding! It's like all the nipple harm is in Underhome specifically. You don't want your nipples to explode from the light. That's not what they're for! What does that even look like? I mean, I gotta say, it's certainly an unusual expression. You know, it's a striking phrase in that way. So, what else do we have to do? I guess we never got the recipe for the cheddar, did we? And, we need to go to the Isle of the Stars to find the person with Catnip's token. We need to, well, we have recipe for the food for the dog, right? So, well, before we look at that, I think it might make sense to just head up and go to the kitchen, right? I think so. The kitchen's on this story. Here we are. Now the big orange cookbook. So we found the flaming cheddar recipe, and let's take a look at that recipe. I'm sure it's very tasty. Well, not really. You see, I've never liked cheddar that much, but if it's flaming, I would hope it's spicy, you know? Where's the scroll recipe? Or the recipe of scrolls. Not a recipe for a scroll. Here we go. So we need something green, which we have. We have the feta. We have the mushroom. But we don't have Saurian sausage. So the flaming cheddar. We have the liquid cheese. And the tremendous toadstool. But I don't think we have pyrogenic poppy or crab flower shell. Now there's the agility. Oh, hey! We have everything we need for the potion of agility. And the soup of recovery. We, yeah, not so much progress on that. So, let's go make that potion of agility. Bolshewski, stoneflower seeds, and the celery. Wrong room. You do a different kind of alchemy in the toilet. Which story? 4th? No, this is the office. I think I know my way around this place by now, but I guess that's what happens when you've been out this long. Alright, here we go. So, to make the, I know I just looked at this, but I have short-term memory loss or something. I mean, not as bad as Takuya or Rima, admittedly. God, I always talk about that. It all comes back to Takuya, the worst person who ever lived, other than Toyotomi. And I guess Lord Urizen. Anyway, what are we looking for here? The Potion of Agility. Well, I'm afraid we're not going to be using it to get into better sex positions. We're going to use it to cross a log. So we need Bolshewski, stoneflower seeds, and the stigmatic celery. Okay. So, Bolshewski, stoneflower seeds, and stigmatic celery. Yes! That's an odd shape it has. I mean, why do they even have a flask in that shape just sitting around? It's very peculiar. Anyway, where is it? There it is. A potion that makes you more agile. Use the eat-drink function instead. It smells of very nimble protoparticles. The mouse finds it amusing that you need a potion to enhance your nimbleness. Well, that's because it's a mouse. I'm nimble. Alright then. Why is there like a black mass over Port Derrig? Anyway, to the Petrified Forest. Let's cross a log! You located the tomb of the Timber Tyrant. Now to find a way in and claim its treasure. You wonder what stone mushroom soup would taste like. Crunchy, probably. There seems to be a tiny bee made of stone slowly crawling around these flowers. So even though it was petrified, it's still moving, huh? I guess it just has to move very, very slowly. Oh hey, so the Petrified Forest isn't dead. In that case, it's not like the Petrified Forest out in the American West. I believe there is a Petrified Forest out in the American West. If you don't bother these mushrooms, they won't bother you. These two mushrooms are very sinister. So we use the key to open the door. That spiderweb is extremely solid. You're going to need some kind of special weapon to cut through it. Do we have such a weapon? I don't think so. We could probably smash through it with a sextant, but not really. A sextant is not a weapon. I mean, I wouldn't want to be clubbed in the head with one, but... Very well. Here I was thinking maybe we didn't need the tokens after all. Well, back to Port Derrig. It's about time. But finally I have that subnana for you. All right, Inaria? Also, my Gavanin traveler. Ha! A wild subnana! Oh, this is fantastic. Here, take the token. If you see my mother, don't tell her about this. You been to the Isle of the Sun? The Isle of the Sun is beautiful. Simply beautiful. I prefer living on the Isle of the Moon, which is more suited to my temperament and complexion, but I have fond memories of wandering the shores near Aftonia on a moonlit night, feeling the sand under my feet and listening to the murmur of the waves. Kinda like me in certain islands in South Carolina. My esteemed colleague Ookbert Appledurn suggested that ookberries help relax the mind and spur new creative thoughts. Honestly, all I got was the hiccups. But other people like them, so hey, who am I to judge? Or the hic coughs, I suppose. Sorry about that, Inaria. I wouldn't want... Maybe she's just allergic to them. It's a food sensitivity. You know, I have a lot of tokens now, and I've never tried eating any of them. I mean, I don't think. It probably won't hurt you, but you might need it, and then you'll have to wait until it comes back out. Yeah. I guess they're pretty small if you can just swallow them. Like, I think if I tried to swallow a coin, I would choke on it. Yeah. I think it's just going to all be the same description for all of them. You're right, not necessarily, because hers smells like vegetables. Whereas I bet Patrick's smells like America. No, of leprechaun. That's probably just a smell of sweat, I'd think. What about Oi's token? Does it smell like beer? Beer? Oh no, it smells of stag. Ugh. So, how you been doing, Patrick? Oi made some spare space for me in the inn storage room, so I have a place to sleep now. I'm very grateful to both of you. Been to the Isle of the Sun? Oh man, I really want to go there someday. It must be so beautiful, with all the white houses and the sunshine and the olive trees and the beaches and... Yeah, but I've barely explored the Isle of the Moon. I think I prefer the Isle of the Moon. But I have to say that if you want to go to the Isle of the Sun, you just come with me. There's plenty of room in our boat for another person. You know, it's weird. I was looking for a place to live, just something small so I'm not always in the way, but turns out all the empty houses are owned by the mayor and a bunch of his friends. And they're doing some sort of, I don't know, thing with shares and derivatives and stuff I don't really get, and nobody can afford to live anywhere. What's with that? Greed? Have you ever noticed there's a lot of mushrooms around here? Darn right I have. Well, I know what I'll do. Maybe you want to hear about your, granddaughter? You've been to the Isle of the Sun?
Too much sun.
Okay, fine. I should probably save. Yeah. Bob is a pretty good save file name, now that I know the truth about Bob, but I don't know, I still feel a little weird about it. The potion of jellification, the flaming cheddar. Can we make the dog food? We have something green, the fantastic feta, and the mellow mushroom. So I'll make it. Something green, feta, mushroom. Something green from the toilet. The fantastic feta. And the mellow mushroom. Yeah, potion of Gnurg. Wonder what it does. It's a potion of Gnurg, obviously. It gnurgles. Smells faintly of Gnurg. Something weird happens. It'll probably wear off after a while. I guess it just changed the color and that's it. Hold on, wait, do I need to go get more feta now? How are these arranged? Alphabetically? Damn it, I need to get more feta! Well, I guess I kind of asked for it, huh? Okay. Fine. Back aboard the ship. Back to the Isle of the Sun. Back to Aftonia. Where did I get that feta anyway? Oh yeah, it was from the dog man's wife. A sphinx passed through Aftonia a while ago. Very mysterious. Always asking strange questions instead of just saying what she wanted. What contains potatoes and aubergines, is covered in cheese, and would go really well with some red wine? I know sphinxes are all about riddles, but how hard is it just to order a moussaka and some wine? I don't know. Guess this is what sphinxes do. They ask riddles. I mean, that's how it went in that Oedipus story. Really, where did I get that feta? Wait, refugee? I was talking to Stavros about the history of the island when I suddenly remembered something my mother told me when I was a child. That one of my ancestors was a refugee from Hyperborea. That must have been during the reign of the Timber Tyrant, when wars and poverty displaced a lot of people. I wonder who he was, how he felt about settling here. I might even be able to find his address in Oniropolis. Send him a letter. But maybe it doesn't matter. We are who we are, no matter where we came from. Yeah, it's true. where did I get the feta? Do you know where I got the feta? Also, I did talk to Nolus. Thanks. At least I don't have to worry about him. Of course, he might still manage to fall off that cliff, but there's only so much I can do. Calliste? Oh, you heard about the island that went kaboom? I remember that quite well. It was awful, but sort of impressive. When you see something like that, no matter how terrifying it is, no matter how much you know people are going to suffer, some part of you just goes, whoa. You heard of Underhome? Underhome is pretty awesome. Really sucks those goons went in there and messed everything up. All these foreclosures are just total bastardiness, if you ask me. But if even Sophia doesn't know how to solve the problem... Huh. No! I haven't been here before. Two very nice, big, firm melons. The joke is, it sounds like they're talking about a woman's breasts. Did you know that the people of Aftonia eat watermelon with feta? It's a surprisingly delicious combination. This is the home of Athena and Maria, a wonderful couple who were both fired recently and are very worried about the future. This house belongs to Mayor Cranion. He rents it for a steep price while people go homeless. So many melons.
Would you like a melon?
Socrates, you look a little bit like this one character from a textbook I had in a class once. Oh, I get it. He's like Socrates.
I used to be a philosopher. No way of doing that and surviving these days. Besides, I'm not sure I was on the right track. So I sell melons now. Melons are good. Everyone loves melons. And selling melons gives me some time to think.
What about your philosophy?
I went wrong somewhere. I don't know where. Did I know too little, but act as if I knew too much? Or was the mistake in asserting too strongly that I only knew that I knew nothing? Forget what that silly boy Plato wrote later on for a moment. There was an error in my thinking, a presumption, a logical fallacy. What was it?
No, I get it. He's asking questions because of that's the Socratic method, is asking questions to make the listener think, to make them question their assumptions. What do you think of politics?
I never wanted to get involved in politics. It wasn't a philosopher's business, not in that sense. But where are we now? Would things be different had I spoken more loudly? Had I spoken less and fought more? What did I do wrong?
Melons?
Melons are sweet and refreshing, bringing joy and happiness wherever they're seen. Of all the things you may put in your mouth, are melons not the most divine? Are they not the most pleasing to the touch? If you were to rest your face against a fruit, would you not choose a melon? Fragrant, luscious melons. Perhaps they are the wisest pursuit in life.
Do you know how to find the oracle?
I don't trust oracles. Once an oracle said that there was no one wiser than me. I think that was wrong.
So, does this mean that Plato is actually still alive in this timeline?
I'm afraid that boy didn't always listen properly to what I said. A great mind, I never deny that. But the words he put in my mouth were... well, they were close to what I said, but not quite the same. I look back at the long legacy we left with pride, but also with apprehension. Maybe Lord Urizen is the philosopher king we spoke of, and wouldn't that be terrible?
Maybe. Well, see you around, Socrates, but where do I get that feta? I really need more feta! What am I doing here? Well, I mean, I came here to get feta. Look, maybe I've misunderstood, and the feta is now permanently part of Underhome's alchemy machine. So, let's go see if I'm right. I hope I am. God willing. Yes, it is! Okay, something green, feta, and mellow mushroom, in that order, I think. Yep, we got the potion of Gnurg. And it did wear off pretty soon. And so we need to take the potion of Gnurg and, there it is, and refine it with, what now? Saurian sausage. We have that. We have the potion of Gnurg. We have the flamboyant flower, essence of Derrick, Tomentus tomato, herpetic gloop, and no, we don't have the sausage yet. So I guess that's as far as we'll go with that particular recipe. What other things do we have some of the ingredients for? Or what else can we do? We need to make dog food, save the world, or the islands, you know. Yeah. Well, I guess our next task then is to just set back out to sea. We'll set out to sea, okay? And then we'll go... Well, we could check out Calliste, but we should probably go to the Isle of the Stars in order... Oh, a sea monster.
Grr, I'm a big sea monster.
So tell me about yourself, Gargatron.
I'm Gargatron the sea monster. I'm big and scary. Roar. Well,
Actually, I'm just a baby.
but someday I'll be huge and I'll carry boats on my back and little islands. Maybe seals will come play on my scales. Do you think the seals will like me?
Plankton.
Plankton's yummy. Water? Sometimes the water tastes bad lately. I don't know why.
Well, nice meeting ya, Gargatron. We should probably... That's a really funny, charming little detail. Anyway, we should probably go to the Isle of the Stars, but I think first I'll go to Castile. And also, hasn't that boat moved? Well, anyway. I'm sorry, Calliste, not Castile. You can see the various layers of the earth. Another place of ruin, huh? A tiny flower is growing in the black sand of Calliste. You been anywhere lonelier than this little mushroom? Calliste was famous for its flowers once. The earth is very fertile here. It's like with Pompeii. That whole area of Campania was settled because the soil was fertile, because of the volcanic ash. But nobody there knew the volcano was active until it was too late. But this is probably based on an actual ancient catastrophe where, in the Mediterranean, where a volcano erupted and destroyed a civilization. Is this where we need to stand for that, to get to the isle where that philosopher lives? The oracle, I mean, not the philosopher. These poppies are very close. You wonder one will burn the other when it dies. A group of drug merchants from Nicaea once tried to make opium from pyrogenic poppies. Did not end well for them. Oh wait, these are pyrogenic poppies, huh? These pyrogenic poppies are not on fire, so they're still alive. But this one is. It looks like that torch from the Olympics. In fitting with the Grecian theme, I guess. So we got our pyrogenic poppy. The remains of an ancient building. Perhaps a temple, or a library, or even someone's home. How ancient can it be if this island was just destroyed recently? In any case, we now have the pyrogenic poppy. So, hold on. In that case, careful, it's hot. Do you enjoy the smell of scorched nose? The mouse runs away, its tail slightly on fire. See ya, mouse? That's for doubting me, for never supporting me, you jerk! But I shouldn't say that. Two wrongs don't make a right, after all. So let's take a look at the scroll of recipes. What did we need the poppy for? To make the flaming cheddar, but we still don't have the crab flower shell. Well, we'll be on our way, I guess. Pretty island. Well, back into the boat. I suppose. So, back to the Isle of the... Let's go to the Isle of the Stars. Let's check it out. I wonder what that little island is. Or that island. Or those islands. Well, I mean, that's Hawaii. So, let's land in Sadaka. Oh, hey, they have an autosave feature. I didn't know that. Let's load that then.